let's talk about it right now. Let's go over to the USGS map as I'm showing you here right now. This is just south of Mindanao, Philippines, largest island in the southern Philippines. This is a 5.6 earthquake. A 5.6 earthquake that struck here just a short time ago. Guys, this happens. This is going to continue to happen. I guarantee you it will continue to happen. This is one of the largest areas where earthquakes hit throughout the world. Over here in the southeastern Asian area. This happens all the time. Why? Because we have 7 different tectonic plates pounding on this area. 7 different tectonic plates subducting under each plate. 7 different plates subducting. The largest subduction zone area in the world. 7 different tectonic plates subducting, going underneath each other just like this. That's what's going on. That is what's happening here. Notice how close it is to Mindanao, Philippines. This is 42 kilometers south-southwest Maguling, Philippines. Let me show you where it's at. Okay? There's a small town right here. There's a small town right here named Maguling, Philippines, right there. Just a small town. Most of this area is farming community. Now, I can't get any closer than this because YouTube won't let me, not YouTube, but USGS is not going to let me show you exactly how close it is. But this is 42 miles southwest Maguling, Philippines. Now, this is out in the ocean. 42 kilometers southwest Maguling, Philippines, out in the ocean. Now, as I've said before, the majority of the earthquakes here out in the ocean, the seismic waves are absorbed by the ocean waters. In this case, this is not that far from the land mass. It's about 32 miles southwest of Mindanao, Philippines. Now, I will tell you this. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. There we go. There we have volume here. I'm sorry about that. We started this program without having volume. I had to turn it down because we were overpowering the other videos that were playing. Our sound was getting almost garbled. It was so loud. I'm sorry, turn that sound down. It should be fine right now. Demon Catman says 5x5. Thank you, Demon Catman. God bless you for that. Okay, this is the largest earthquake off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines. Okay, this is 42 kilometers southwest of Maguling, Philippines. Maguling, Philippines is right over here. Right over here. It's a small town in the southwestern Philippines. Just a very small town. Okay, but it's close enough where they may have felt this earthquake. The majority of the time when earthquakes are offshore from islands of any kind, when it's even this large, when it's far enough offshore, the people on the island don't feel it. In this case, this was only 42 kilometers southwest, or about 32 miles southwest Maguling, Philippines. In this case, some part of the shaking was felt here on the island of Philippines. Okay? Some part of the shaking was felt here, but I don't think they took the full brunt of the 5.6 very large earthquake. 5.5 to 5.9 could be considered to be a very large earthquake. 5.0, 5.5 is considered to be a large earthquake. 5.6 to 5.9, very large earthquake. Okay? We've seen what happens with earthquakes yesterday over in San Diego County in Southern California. Tonight we're going to talk about earthquakes in Southern California. We're going to talk about it a lot. A lot. Just to give you an idea, there are 19 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 19 earthquakes. USBS is only showing us 3. South of Java, Philippines here, or not Philippines, south of Java, Indonesia here is a 4.4 moderate earthquake, 26 kilometers deep. East of the Java, Philippines over here, not Philippines. East of Java, Indonesia, got Philippines on the brain, East of Java, Indonesia here, Timor-Leste, Indonesia here, another 4.2 earthquake. This is moderately deep. This is 272 kilometers deep. Just east of there, in the Banda Sea, this is a 4.3 earthquake here. A 4.3 earthquake here. Both of these earthquakes occurred in the Banda Sea. The ocean waters here absorbed the shockwaves of this quake, these two quakes, and I don't think anybody on any of the adjoining islands even felt these earthquakes at all. Okay, but there are other earthquakes here in this area. Like I said, 19 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. USBS is not even talking about any of those. Okay, over here in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea. This is a large 5.2 earthquake. A large 5.2 earthquake. 60 kilometers west-southwest of Poneguna, Papua New Guinea. Notice where it's at. Just barely offshore. In this case, I believe that the ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Far enough offshore this time where I don't think anybody felt this quake. Okay? They got lucky. Because Papua New Guinea and Papua Indonesia have been getting pounded by earthquakes during the last week or so. Further east over here. Okay? Vanuatu. Port of Vila, Vanuatu. This is a 4.8 earthquake, 58 kilometers south-southwest of Port Vila, Vanuatu. The problem with that. Okay? Yes, this was a 4.8 moderate earthquake. Port Vila, Vanuatu had a 7.4 earthquake here just about 2 months ago. Right up here. This is Port Vila, Vanuatu. 7.4 earthquake here just a couple months ago. That happens. In this case, the ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. Nobody in Vanuatu even felt this quake. Now there are other earthquakes over here in Tonga, Fiji, and New Zealand. And USBS is not talking about any of them. There are 28 earthquakes here in New Zealand. The majority of those earthquakes are over here around the North Island, north and south of the North Island here. There are several earthquakes here on the South Island as well. None of them really dangerous earthquakes at all. Most of those are 2.5s to 3.8 earthquakes. 2.5 to 3.8 earthquakes. Okay? That's what's happened here. We all know what USBS does and doesn't do. They don't report much of anything. Let's go over here south of Japan here. Right up here. This is in the Izu Islands south of Japan. This is a moderate 4.0 earthquake. What's the problem with that? Folks, look where this earthquake is. Again, they're not showing us all the earthquakes either. But this earthquake is right along a fracture zone. A major undersea ridge here. A major undersea ridge. Izu Islands here. Okay? Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because of the history here in Japan, in and around this same area, Japan is due a major earthquake. Japan is due a major earthquake, and it can happen at any time. Those of you who are in Japan that may hear and see this report, you need to take that seriously. You need to batten down the hatches and prepare for a large earthquake. Now, I do not know where it's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. My crystal ball doesn't tell me things like that. I have a ball that one of our viewers gave me some time ago, last year. Yes, it says crystal ball on it, but guess what? It's nothing more than an 8 ball. Okay, it doesn't tell me much of anything. This will not give me a forecast where any of these earthquakes are going to hit. It's not going to do that. But you need to believe me because I've studied what's going on in this area. I've had significant study. I've got a degree in this. And I followed up with other education as well. We are due a major earthquake in Japan. Where it hits, we don't know, and we don't know when it's going to happen. But those of you in Japan need to batten down the hatches. Those of you that have relatives in Japan also need to know that you need to send your relatives notice that there's something that's going to happen. I guarantee it. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Could happen this year. I have a good feeling that it will, unfortunately. Going north up here, in the Kuril Islands north of Hokkaido, Japan, right up here. This is a 4.4 earthquake. The Kuril Islands belong to Russia. We've had a great many earthquakes in this area before. Again, look where this earthquake is. Look where this earthquake is. Right smack dab on an earthquake fault. Right smack dab on an earthquake fault. This is going to continue. This will continue. Now, folks, again, we don't think any of these islands in the Kuril Islands are occupied islands. I don't think so. But nevertheless, we have seismic energy here and it's moving north. A lot of energy has been moving north here along these earthquake faults. It's going to happen. Again, they're not showing us all the earthquakes that are happening. But I guarantee you, all these earthquakes are moving north out of Indonesia, out of the Philippines, and going up towards Taiwan, Japan, and upwards to the Kamchatka Peninsula. Over here in Tajikistan, this earthquake hit at approximately 11:07 a.m. this morning Eastern Time. This is a 4.2 moderate earthquake here. A 4.2 moderate earthquake here. Now, folks, again, the USGS is not showing us all the earthquakes here. Myanmar here is still getting devastated with earthquakes. Most of the earthquakes here in Myanmar are small to moderate earthquakes right now. Yesterday, Myanmar got hit with a 5.6 very large earthquake. Just a couple weeks ago, Myanmar got hit by a major earthquake, a very major earthquake. As I said, it was over an 8.0 earthquake. They said just a 7.4, but folks, you can't trust the USGS for nothing. Nothing. Myanmar is still getting hit. Thailand is also getting hit. Okay? What that big earthquake didn't bring down, these other aftershocks will bring down. That area, this whole area is in chaos right now. This whole area of Southeast Asia is in chaos. Okay? The seismic energy is also over here in the Himalaya Mountains. We've seen this energy creep through the Himalaya Mountains, and as a result, we have this earthquake in Tajikistan today. A 4.2 earthquake here in Tajikistan. We are going to see seismic energy here in the Himalaya Mountains for quite a long time. Seismic energy has been locked up here in the Himalaya Mountains for a long time, as it is. But that major earthquake has worked its way over here into the Himalaya Mountains. We're going to constantly see large earthquakes in this area for some time to come. Again, we have a 4.2 here in Tajikistan. Let me widen this out. We're not seeing any other earthquakes in either the Middle East or Europe. None. Why not? Why not? Because the USGS doesn't believe they need to tell the truth. That's the bottom line. The United States Geological Survey doesn't believe that they need to tell the truth. And as a result, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And as a result of that, people are going to get killed. People are going to get killed. Yes, the European agency also tells us what earthquakes can hit, but even the European agency is following after the USGS. They're not telling us about all the earthquakes either. They're not telling us about all the earthquakes either. Every day that I come on this program, I've shown you earthquakes in diverse places. Places where USGS is not telling us about. Because they're stupid. They're stupid. Okay? And I'm not talking about the everyday secretary or everyday scientist working for USGS. I'm talking about the managers. The managers of USGS. The managers are being told by the politicians, don't talk about it. Don't put it out. Don't let this information go out. Why? Because the politicians want to keep their jobs. The politicians want to keep their jobs. Now, guys, if I was working anywhere, I'd want to keep my job as well. But I'm going to be honest about it. I'm at least going to be honest about it. Here, the USGS people don't give a darn. They don't give a darn. The scientists do their job, the secretaries and everybody else do their job. But the politicians are telling the managers of USBS not to talk about it. Why? Because the politicians want to keep their jobs. If the USGS was to talk about the earthquakes, where they're at, and how many earthquakes there are, and how strong the earthquakes are, do you think people would pay attention? You bet they would. And they would move out of the areas that they're at. If that happened, the politicians would find themselves without jobs. Because if the cities and counties can't pay their bills because people move away, that will quickly make the politicians unemployed. There's nobody there buying quantity food or anything else, goods and services in those areas.
Magnitude 4.6, 15 minutes ago.
If the politicians are telling people to move out, the people would pay attention. They would move out, there would be nobody buying goods and services in those areas. And as a result, the stores would go out of business. If the stores and the people go out of business, then the counties and cities would go out of business as well. Nobody to keep the lights on. Nobody to repair the roads. The politicians would be without a job. That's what's going on here. This is exactly what's going on. We will never get the truth out of the USBS ever. Never going to happen. Not unless President Trump kicks the managers in the butt and tells the politicians to stay out of the USBS. Let them do their job. Then possibly, things might go back to normal, where the USBS is going to tell us what's going on. The United States Geological Survey used to report about a lot of earthquakes, majority of the earthquakes around the world. Now, even on their website, they are saying they won't report everything. They won't report everything. Incredible. Incredible. My buddy Brokefish N is here from Oregon. God bless you, brother. Brokefish N follows earthquakes and such and fires up in the Oregon and Washington and Northern California areas. We appreciate him a lot. He's a great man. Also, one of our buddies, Nathan Hester, who watches this program. Many times, YouTube won't let him talk on the chat, but he's monitoring this program as we speak. Nathan Hester is a storm chaser, just like Reed Timmer is and many other people are. Nathan Hester is a storm chaser. He gave us a lot of information about the tornadoes that we had here recently. We're going to continue to monitor his feeds and talk to him on the phone. We spoke to him earlier this afternoon, but he's also monitoring this channel. I wanted to give him credit for that. Now, getting back to these earthquakes. As you see, down here in the South Atlantic Ocean, right here, this is a large 5.1 earthquake. A large 5.1 earthquake. In this case, this is west. This is west of the southern Mid-Atlantic Fault. Now, folks, we do have earthquakes here. There are islands here. There are islands here. Now, because of that, there are other earthquake faults here in the Atlantic Ocean. That is why we have a 5.1 earthquake here. This is exactly why we have a 5.1 earthquake here in the southern Atlantic Ocean, west of the southern Mid-Atlantic Fault. As we said before, the Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. With that expansion, we're going to see more and more earthquakes on the western side and the eastern side of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is pushing Africa and Europe in an easterly direction. It's pushing South America, northern Mexico, the United States and Canada, and Greenland in a southwesterly direction. That's happening. Last week we've seen two 5.0 earthquakes and a 4.7 earthquake in the North Mid-Atlantic. Those earthquakes came out of the southern Atlantic as well. Down here in the South Sandwich Islands here, this is a 5.0 earthquake. This is a 5.0 earthquake. Down here in the South Sandwich Islands, guys, this seismic energy will travel up here through the Mid-Atlantic Fault down here. It'll go down it'll go east here on the Antarctic Ridge, and it will come up here in the Mid-Atlantic within the next few days. So expect to see a 5.0 earthquake here again in the Mid-Atlantic Ocean. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now we're only showing one earthquake here in northern Chile. One earthquake here. This is over in Calama, Chile. 11 kilometers northeast of Calama, Chile. A 4.5 earthquake. Moderate earthquake. Now there is some shaking here. There's going to be some shaking here. Actually, they're showing two earthquakes here. This shaking is not going to do real damage. Yes, it's a moderate earthquake that can create moderate damage, but it's not going to kill anybody probably, and it's not going to do any major damage at all. Notice where it is. It's in the foothills of the Andes Mountains. The foothills of the Andes Mountains. That is why this earthquake hit. North of here, one other earthquake. Oleg, Chile. Oleg, Chile. This is a 4.0 earthquake. Now, folks, this is an aftershock of a 5.0 earthquake that hit here about 3 weeks ago. 4.0 earthquake, this is 132 kilometers deep. Again, it's in the foothills of the Andes Mountains. That's why these earthquakes hit. Now, there are other earthquakes here. There's about 14 earthquakes in this region right here in northern Chile. It's sad that the USGS does not think enough of us to talk about it. There are small earthquakes and there are other 4.0, 4.9 earthquakes here. But USGS decided not to talk about it. There are other earthquakes south of here in central Chile as well. Not talking about those. They're also not talking about any of the other earthquakes here in Peru or up here in Colombia. There are earthquakes here. They decided it's not important. They also decided it's not important to talk about these earthquakes in Central America and southern Mexico. What a joke. What a joke. There are about 12 earthquakes here in Central America. There are about 28 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 28 earthquakes from Puerto Vallarta here to the north and out down here all the way down to the border with Guatemala. That's a lot of earthquakes. And most of these are 4.2, 4.4, 3.5, 3.7 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. But again, this agency decides they don't want to talk about it. They used to, but they don't want to talk about it now. Let's go over to Puerto Rico. Okay, I want to talk about these earthquakes here. Southern Puerto Rico here, southwestern Puerto Rico. This is a 3.0 earthquake down here. Why is this important? Actually, there's a couple earthquakes here. Why is this important? Because here, 5 years ago, actually 6 years ago, coming up very soon, December 26th and December 28th, 2019, we had an 8.0 and 8.4 earthquake hit here. Man-made earthquakes. I've talked about this before. I'm not going to go into it tonight. But they were man-made earthquakes. And as a result, we continue to have aftershocks here. This is a 3.0, and this is a 2.1 earthquake. near Indios, Puerto Rico. Indios, Puerto Rico here. Those major earthquakes did a lot of damage. They flattened buildings, they flattened houses, they killed a lot of people. Man-made earthquakes. It's going to happen again. I'm sure it's already happened since these two earthquakes hit, because these scientists have no gall. They have no gall. They're run by the deep state, that's why. Over here, this is north of Charlotte Amalie, U.S. British Virgin Islands. This is a 3.3 earthquake, and this red earthquake just happened. This is a 3.4 earthquake. This is north-northeast of Cruz Bay, U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay? This earthquake is 13 kilometers deep. This other earthquake here is 44 kilometers deep. Fairly shallow earthquakes. Fairly shallow earthquakes. Now let's go over here to the United States. I've taken you on a tour of the world so far. And again, USGS doesn't give a darn about anything. They really don't. Over here in the New Madrid area, tomorrow I believe, if nothing else happens that takes our energy away from these earthquakes here in New Madrid, we're going to talk tomorrow about the New Madrid Fault Seismic Zone. This is a 2.4 in Missouri. Williamsville, Missouri. A 2.4 minor earthquake here. This is 1.2 kilometers deep, half a mile deep, on the New Madrid Fault. What's the problem with that? Folks, this is not the only earthquake to hit. USGS has decided they're not going to report earthquakes here at all. Occasionally they'll tell us about earthquakes, but this is still a moderate earthquake, a small earthquake, minor one. There are other earthquakes here as well. Some of these earthquakes here in the New Madrid seismic zone in Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Louisiana, Missouri, and points north up to and including Illinois and Indiana. They are 1.5, 1.7 tremors going up to 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes. I keep showing you this. I keep telling you about it. We are going to have a major earthquake here, possibly in the realm of 2 years from now, within the next 2 years. That's why we talk about it. Now, we've talked about the New Madrid Fault before many times. About 3 years ago, there was nothing going on. All we had here were minor tremors, very, very minor tremors, 1.1, 1.3, 1.5, 1.7 tremors. In the last 3 years, these tremors become minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. They become small earthquakes, 3.0, 3.9. And yes, we've even had 4.0 to 4.5 earthquakes here on the New Madrid Fault within the last year. That seismic increase has increased tenfold, 100-fold over the last 3 years. It's going to continue to increase until there's a major earthquake here on the New Madrid Fault. I promise you it's going to happen. Let's go over here to the west. Right here, Prague, Oklahoma. This is a 1.5 tremor here in Prague, Oklahoma. This is an oil and gas quake. This is an oil and gas quake. There are 586,000 pumps and jacks all over Oklahoma, pumping oil and gas. That's why we're having this earthquake here. This is 6.2 kilometers deep, meaning 3 miles deep. Okay? Look at this other one here. This is Bridge Creek, Oklahoma, a 1.3 tremor here. Again, an oil and gas tremor. Right here. They say this is a quarry blast. Let's take a look at it. I don't trust them at all. When they say there's a quarry blast, many times we found out that they don't know what they're talking about and mislabeled the blast as a quarry blast when it's really a tremor. In this case, this is far enough away from any of the quarries This is also an oil and gas quake. Look where the oil pads are. Right down here. Oil and gas pad there, and oil and gas pad right there. This is a fracking earthquake. This is a fracking earthquake. There's oil and gas pad over here as well. This is a fracking earthquake. And this tiny white spot right there is also probably an oil and gas pad right there. This is right smack dab in the middle of an oil and gas field here. Oklahoma, guys. Oklahoma. That's what they do here. That's what happens. So USGS saying it's a quarry blast, they're out of their minds. They don't know what they're talking about. We've proved that fact many times throughout the years. We've proven that fact. Now, Hurricane Heather's in the chat talking about Crater Lake is an active caldera in south central Oregon. It is. But USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network have turned off the seismographs over around Crater Lake. They've turned them off. Presently, there is, as of last week, there is no seismic activity being shown by the seismographs. The seismographs have been turned off for whatever reason. Now, when I say they've been turned off, they really have. Now, what's the problem with that? Whenever USGS turns off a seismograph, there's an issue. That's because there's a lot of activity. I'm going to prove that out tonight in Southern California. I'm going to show you seismographs tonight. They're only partial seismographs because the agency has turned them off. The agency's turned off the seismographs. Let's go over here. This is a 1.6 in near Toyota, Texas. This is also a 2.0 just on the eastern side of New Mexico. 2.0, minor earthquake here and oil gas operation here. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. This is a 2.6 earthquake here. Also, this earthquake here is a 1.5 tremor. Toyota, Texas. Oil and gas fracking operations here. Oil and gas fracking operations here. Look at these oil and gas pads right here. And we have an earthquake right there. Oil and gas fracking operations here, all throughout this area. You see it right here. Oil and gas fracking operations all over this area. That is why we've had earthquakes here. Just south of this earthquake here, this is a 1.5 here, 56 kilometers northwest of Toyota, Texas. Right here is an oil and gas pad here. There's an oil and gas pad out here to the west. And there are more oil and gas pads out here to the east. Right smack dab in an oil field. Each and every one of these earthquakes is an oil field. That's why they happen. Okay? That is exactly why they happen. Now, we have a new earthquake that just happened here. Let's go over and take a look at it. This is Kingston, Nevada. Kingston, Nevada. This is a minor earthquake 2.0 here. Now, why did it happen? Why did it happen? Look where it's at. Look where this earthquake's at. Folks, this used to be a volcanic field. There's lava on the ground here. There's lava on the ground. That's why we have these earthquakes here. Okay? That's exactly why we have these earthquakes here. This is a volcanic area. That's a volcanic area. Out here to the west, we have more volcanic areas, such as this lake here. This is also a volcano. Further down here to the south, this is Mono Lake here. Also major volcano. And out to the east of there is another volcanic area here. Right smack dab here. Okay? Huge volcanic area. Down south we have Mammoth Mountain. And east of Mammoth Mountain, we have Long Valley volcanic area. This earthquake here is in Mammoth Lakes. They say this is a 0.0 surface quake. Guess what? It's a quarter of a mile deep. This earthquake is a quarter of a mile deep. Not necessarily at the surface. South of there, right here. This is also connected with Mammoth Lakes. This is a 1.1 tremor, and this earthquake here is also a 0.4 microquake here. This is volcanic related. You can see the craters here all over this area. This is also volcanic related. Okay? That's why we have these earthquakes here. Now let's go down here to Southern California. Let's go down here to Southern California. Now, no, before that, I'm sorry. Let's go up here to the Southern Cascadia subduction region. The Southern Cascadia subduction region, right here. Just off the coast of Petrolia, California. This is on the Gorda Escarpment. The Gorda Escarpment. This is a 2.4 earthquake here. A 2.4 earthquake here. Minor earthquake. Look where it's located. Look where these earthquakes are located. This one is just southwest of the Triple Junction. This earthquake here is in Petrolia, California here. This is a 2.2. The Triple Junction is where this earthquake fault that runs north is called the Cascadia subduction zone. Major earthquake fault running all the way down from central British Columbia, Canada, near Haida Gwaii, all the way down here into northern California. It intersects with the Gorda Escarpment and the San Andreas Fault. So we have two minor earthquakes here in this region. One right here just north of the San Andreas Fault. Okay? We don't see any other earthquakes here except over here in the Puget Sound area.
Location,
right up here.
Mid-Indian Ridge, class light, magnitude 4.7, 15 minutes ago.
4.7 in the mid-Indian Ocean area, 4 minutes ago. This earthquake here is in Allen, Washington. We've had multiple earthquakes here in Allen, Washington before, the last few weeks. This is a 1.3 tremor. Further north here, to the northeast here, this is Marble Mount, Washington, a 1.3 tremor here. To the south here, we have Cliffdale, Washington, a 0.8 microquake. Further southeast of there, this is Desert Air, Washington. Desert Air, Washington is a volcanic area. Volcanic area. Further south here in Oregon, Three Rivers, Oregon. This is a 0.4 microquake. This also nearly a mile deep. Nearly a mile deep here. It's also south of a volcano there, right here. Look at that. Look at that. Okay? Volcanic area. So there's a lot of activity here. Further out east of the seismic activity near the Northern California coast, this is Millville, California here. This is a minor 2.0 earthquake. Minor 2.0 earthquake. We go south. We go south. This area here, you see a swarm of earthquakes here. This area is part of the geysers facility. The geysers facility. Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the volcano just north of there, the Clear Lake volcano. Men have drilled into the Clear Lake volcano to obtain steam from the upper magma chambers of the volcano to power turbines here in the geysers area. Usually we have anywhere from 20 to 30 earthquakes here every day because seismic energy comes off the Pacific Ocean here. Seismic energy comes off the Pacific Ocean and we have earthquakes. Seismic energy hits these man-made earthquake faults, fractures the rock in the man-made earthquake drill points, and it has earth movement as a result. That's why we have earthquakes here. Just northwest of the Clear Lake volcano, this is Talmadge, California. This is a 2.3 earthquake. This is not the only earthquake here near the Talmadge, California area. It continues to happen there as well. Okay? What's going on here in the geysers facility? Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano to harvest steam to power turbines in this facility. You see two earthquakes right here. Just south of that facility, south of those earthquakes here, we have a geysers facility, a turbine facility. Right here, we have about 18 turbines here, powered by the steam from the volcano. 18 turbines in this facility right here, powered by the steam from the volcano. This is also in Sonoma County, California, wine country. Wine country here. Okay, that's why we have here. I want to go further down here on the San Andreas Fault, just west of San Francisco Bay. This is Lagunitas, Forest Knolls, California. Folks, this is a forested area. We have some redwoods here. We have some redwood forest area here. This is a 1.6 tremor on the San Andreas Fault. 1.6 tremor on the San Andreas Fault. Okay? Further south here on the Hayward Fault, just southeast of San Francisco Bay. This is 0.8 in Milpitas, California. Right here, just south of there, also Alum Rock, also on the Hayward Fault. 0.9, 1.0 tremor here. East of there on the Calaveras Fault. Livermore, California here, 1.6 tremor here. Guys, this is a very dangerous area. You see where Livermore, California is? The Calaveras Fault. West of there on the Hayward Fault. And south of here also on the San Andreas Fault. All three of these faults nearly come together down here just east of Monterey Bay. This area is probably one of the most dangerous areas in California. 3 major earthquake faults here. Can you imagine what would happen when we have a major earthquake on either one of these faults? Look out. Look out. All heck is going to break loose here. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Okay? Now, let's go south. Also on the San Andreas Fault here, Ridgemark, California, 1.3 tremor. Southeast of there, east of the Pinnacles. Oil and gas pumping operation going on here in the Pinnacles, right on top of the San Andreas Fault. This is a 2.0 earthquake here on the San Andreas Fault right here. And just east of there, northeast of there, also in the Pinnacles area, 1.6 tremor. Considered on the San Andreas Fault here. Now we go south here. Folks, this is a 0.8 microquake. Guess where it is? It's in the capital city of earthquakes, Parkfield, California. The capital of earthquakes throughout the world, Parkfield, California. More earthquakes happen here than anywhere else on Earth. This is a 0.8 tremor here. Actually not tremor, but a 0.8 microquake here. Parkfield, California. This is 1 mile deep. 1 mile deep here on the San Andreas Fault. We follow the San Andreas Fault south here. Look where it goes. It heads east of Los Angeles. But the USGS is telling us about one earthquake here in Pires, California. A 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake. They're not telling you about any other earthquakes in this area. Why not? Why not? There are plenty of earthquakes all over this area. Down here to the south, Chino Hills, California. This is a 0.7 microquake here, Chino Hills. Guess what? Tonight I'm going to show you a seismogram, which is a graphic example from the seismograph machine itself. I'm going to show you more than one 0.7 microquake here. There are dozens of them. Also, we're going to see minor earthquakes here as well. 2.0, 2.7 minor earthquakes. Chino, California. Further south here, Home Gardens, California, south of LA. Guess what? This is a 1.7 tremor here. 1.7 tremor. Yesterday we had some tremors out here that were near quarries. Yes, there are a lot of quarries here, but this is a tremor. It's nowhere near a quarry. It's out east here in the hills outside of Home Gardens. This is a 1.7 tremor. 1.7 tremor here. Southern California. They're not even showing all the earthquakes here. They're not doing it. Why not? Redlands, California. 2 earthquakes here. This is a 0.7 microquake. This is a 1.1 tremor here. Redlands, California. Northeast of there, this is Mentone, California. This is a 1.0 tremor here. Let's go south. Let's go south here. Right up here to the north, Cabazon, California. Folks, they say this is a 0.7 microquake here. Guess what? I'm going to show you a seismogram from Cabazon. There are dozens of minor earthquakes and tremors here. You're going to see that as well. Further south here, Idlewild, California. I'm going to show you a seismogram here showing you all kinds of minor earthquakes here. Actually, not minor earthquakes, but tremors. This is a 1.1 tremor here. This is a 1.2 here, and it was 0.8 microquake here. This is a 0.4 here, Anza, California. Anza, California. Part of the Anza-Brego Desert State Park area. Northeast San Diego County. This is a 1.1. This is a 0.3. Now folks, I'm going in here to San Diego County. I'm going in here to San Diego County. We're also going to talk about the Imperial Valley east of San Diego County as well. Further south here, 1.0 here in the Anza Gap area as well. Anza, California, Anza-Brego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. Out here to the southwest, Warner Springs. This is 1.4 tremor here in northeast San Diego County. Right here is Palomar Observatory. Palomar Observatory, guys, guess what? This is on the Elsinore Fault. This is on the Elsinore Fault. Why is that important? Because the earthquake in but just south of Julian yesterday was on the Elsinore Fault. The Elsinore Fault. The Elsinore Fault starts way up here in just north of Elsinore, California. This is Lake Elsinore right here. This is Lake Elsinore right here. Yesterday we showed you a tremor right here east of Lake Elsinore here. Actually east of Lake Elsinore here in Elsinore, California. Earthquakes happen here. I'm going to show you some other tremors here today in Elsinore, California. Okay, south of here. Let's go further south here. Warner Springs I told you about. Let's go down further south here. This is also 8 kilometers southwest of Warner. This is a 0.6 microquake here. This also, just so you know, 6.3 kilometers deep. 2 miles deep. 2 miles deep. Actually, it's a little more than that, about 2.5 miles deep. Now we come down here to where the earthquake hit yesterday. They said this was a 5.2 earthquake. A 5.2 earthquake. As I told you yesterday, I believe it was a much larger earthquake, and I'm going to show you some more evidence of it today. We have a microquake here in Ramona, California. Ramona, California is just northwest of Julian. Northwest of Julian. Now, why do I know where Ramona, California is? Because, folks, I used to live in this area. I did not live in Ramona. I lived in a town called Poway, California. Poway, California, right down here. Okay? I lived there. Up here near Julian, look at all these earthquakes here. There are about 75 earthquake aftershocks here. There are about 75 earthquake aftershocks here. These two red ones we'll talk about right here. This is a 1.0 tremor here. To the south down here is a 0.8 microquake. Yes, we're having tremors and microquakes here. We're also having some 2.0 earthquakes here as well. Let me see if I can find one of those 2.0 earthquakes. Here's something else. Okay? This is what they call a 0.0 earthquake. However, they say this is a surface quake. Anytime we see 0.0 earthquake, they say it's a surface quake, but guess what? It's not. This is 7 miles deep. This is 7 miles deep. It's not a surface quake at all. This is on the Elsinore Fault, everyone. This is on the Elsinore Fault. This is a deep, well, it's not deep, it's a very shallow earthquake. But it's deeper than they're saying it is. This is why I dislike the USBS. They lie to the public. They lie to the public. Anybody that looks at these earthquakes will find out very quickly that the agencies lie to the public profusely. Profusely. This earthquake is a 1.1 tremor here, 3 kilometers, 1.5 miles south of Julian. This is 13 kilometers deep, approximately 6.5 miles deep, on the Elsinore Fault. The Elsinore Fault. This is a 1.3, also 12.5 kilometers deep, about 6 miles deep. Guys, this is where the Elsinore Fault is. 0.2 microquake here, also 7 miles deep. 70 plus earthquakes here today. I counted 68 earthquakes before I came on the program. We've had several more, as you can see here. The red ones are earthquakes that just happened. Earthquakes that just happened. Now, I'm going to zoom out here, and let's go over here to the east. I want to show you what's going on here. This is Borrego Springs, part of the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park in northeast San Diego County. This is also 0.8 in Borrego. This earthquake is east-southeast of Julian. 0.5 microquake here. This is in the top of the Chocolate Mountains here. The top of the Chocolate Mountains here to divide San Diego County from the Imperial Valley. This is a 0.7 here. Pine Valley, California. Northeast San Diego County. Further south, Ocotillo, California. This is over in the eastern foothills of the Chocolate Mountains. Let's go over here to the east some more. Folks, they say this is at Ocotillo Wells, but this is 4 miles north of Ocotillo. 4 miles north of Ocotillo. USGS is saying it's south of Ocotillo. It's not. It's north of Ocotillo. We go further east here. They say this is 17 kilometers south of Salton City. 17 kilometers south of Salton City, 1.7 tremor. Salton City is right here. Right up here. Salton City. As I showed you pictures of the communities around the Salton Sea. Most of these communities are ghost towns. The only people that go into these ghost towns are tourists or people that like to camp here overnight. Otherwise, nobody lives here. There's a couple coffee shops over here in Bombay Beach. Last week I showed you a video here in Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach gets hit with 3.5 to 4.0 earthquakes all the time, every day. I'm going to show you a seismogram here at Bombay Beach as well. To the north here, the San Andreas Fault runs alongside the east side of the Salton Sea.
Location, Scotia Sea, class moderate, magnitude 5.2, depth 6.2 miles, 7 minutes ago.
A 5.2 earthquake in the Scotia Sea in the southern part of the world. Okay? Up here is the Salton City. Not Salton Sea, I'm sorry. This is North Shore Salton Sea. North Shore Salton Sea. This is a town of about 5,000 people. Right alongside the San Andreas Fault. I'm going to show you a bunch of tremors here. Now, they're not showing any earthquakes here at all in the Imperial Valley. What a lie that is. When they are emitting earthquakes, when the USGS did not tell us about earthquakes, guess what? They are lying to the public. There are probably close to 400 earthquakes here in the southern side of the Imperial Valley. I'm going to show you those earthquakes today. Right here, Calipatria. Calipatria, California, there are about 100 tremors and earthquakes here. Calipatria. I'm going to show you also a seismogram from Westmoreland here. Westmoreland is a small town here, maybe about 2,000 people. I'm going to show earthquakes and tremors here in Westmoreland. Further south, I'm going to take you down to the Imperial Valley. I'm going to take you down to a town called Imperial. Guess what Imperial is going to show you? More earthquakes here. Even 3.0 earthquakes here in the town of Imperial. I'm also going to take you over here to El Centro, California. This is a town of about 15 or 20,000 people now. Pretty good sized town. Why is it a good sized town? Because the United States Navy has a naval air station right here in the in the area of the Imperial Valley. Naval Air Station El Centro is right here. Many of the people who live over here in El Centro belong to the military, the U.S. Navy and Marines. Okay? Down here in Holtville, this is a town called Holtville. This town is about 5,000 people here. We have what we call the Salton Sea Desert Research Station here in Holtville. There are a bunch of earthquakes and tremors here in Holtville as well. Folks, what I'm going to show you here all over Southern California is we are going to show you a lot of earthquakes. The USGS is not going to show you. They're not going to show you because they don't want you to see it. That's why I'm showing you these earthquakes here. Also out here, this is a quarry out east of the Imperial Valley, on the eastern side of the Imperial Valley. This is a 1.3 tremor here. 1.3 tremor here. Okay? There's a quarry here. Right there. Okay? That's what's there. Now we go down here. This is Delta, Mexico. Guess what? We have a 2.4 earthquake here on the San Andreas Fault. San Andreas Fault. This northern Mexico, guys. What else do we have here? Can anybody tell me what we have here? We just happen to have a volcano. Right here. Cerro Prado volcanoes right here. The same thing that they have over in the Salton Sea area, the same thing they have in the geysers, the same thing they have in the Coastal Volcanic Field, the same thing they have north of Reno, Nevada. They have fracking operations going on. What happens here? They drill into the upper magma chambers of the volcano to obtain steam, to generate electricity. They're doing that here in northern Mexico, right here at the Cerro Prieto volcano. They're doing it right here. And just southeast of there, we have an earthquake right there. A 2.4 minor earthquake here. But they're again not showing you all the earthquakes either. They're not doing it. They don't want you to know what's going on. That's why they're not showing us much of anything. Let's close this out. Let's close this out. Now, what I'm going to show you here is may blow your mind. Look at this here. Look at this here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This slide came from Volcano Discovery yesterday. They showed this earthquake as a 6.7 earthquake. When it first came out, they said it was a 6.0. Then they downgraded to 5.2 earthquake. Again, this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt what I've been saying. This earthquake yesterday in San Diego County was larger than they're saying it is. Now, I'm not saying it's a 6.7. I disagree somewhat with Volcano Discovery, but I believe it may be a 6.2 earthquake. And I said so yesterday. I believe this earthquake yesterday was at least a 6.0, 6.2 earthquake. Okay? Hurricane Heather says that's how big it was. I agree. But I say it was probably close to 6.2. This was a major deal yesterday. No, it's not a major earthquake, but it's a major deal. Major deal. Had this happened in a populated area, we would have seen streets buckling. Streets buckling because of earthquake pressure on the streets. Fissures open up. As it was, we saw landslides and rock flying down off the hillsides. We saw earthquakes shake superstructures. Great big huge high rises all over San Diego County. It was a big deal. It was a very big deal. And USGS is lying through their teeth about it. Lying through their teeth. Now, I have a couple other slides I'm going to show you later on. After we get...
Location, in Dupage region, Afghanistan, class strong, magnitude 6.1, depth 75.2 miles, 7 minutes ago.
We had another earthquake in Afghanistan just a few minutes ago. A big deal. A big, big deal. Okay. Let's show you what happened in Southern California today and yesterday. Let's go over the seismograms here. Okay? Folks, this is off the coast of Los Angeles. This seismogram is showing you the Channel Islands. This is yesterday. I'm sorry, today. Look what's going on. Yes, we're having 2.0 earthquakes. 2.0, 2.8 earthquakes here in the Channel Islands here. Let me enlarge this so you can truly see what we're talking about. Over here on the left-hand side of your screen here. Okay? Just after 6 a.m. this morning. Just before 6:01. This is at least a 2.5, 2.7 earthquake. Above that you see 1.7, 1.8 tremor after 5 a.m. on the top black line. On the red line, that is a 1.8, 1.9 tremor there. 1.8, 1.9 tremor. And you can see other ones here as well. Over here on the far right-hand side, this is 5:14 a.m. this morning. That's a 2.7 earthquake right there. Yes, you see a lot of tremors here, but you're also seeing earthquakes here as well. These earthquakes are minor earthquakes for the most part. However, over here on the right, on the green line here, I'm going to back it out here. This would be 8:59 a.m. this morning. on this green line here. This appears to be a 3.0
upgraded
earthquake.
to 6.4 from 6.0 location, Hindu Kush region, Afghanistan. Class strong, depth 75.
6.4 earthquake in Hindu Kush, Afghanistan. That is a very strong earthquake. From a 6.0 to 6.4 earthquake upgraded in Afghanistan. That's a big deal.
Downgraded to 5.9 from 6.4 location, Hindu Kush region, Afghanistan. Class moderate, depth 75.2 miles, 10 minutes ago.
They just downgraded from 6.4 to 5.9. That's typical for USBS. Incredible. Incredible. But look at these other minor earthquakes here. One after on the red line after 10:15 this morning. 10:15 would be over on the left-hand side. Here, this particular juncture here, this would be 10:22 a.m. this morning. 10:22 a.m. this morning. And about a minute and a half later, we have another 2.3, 2.4 earthquake. Down here at the bottom on the green line. Okay? This green line here on the left-hand side will be 12:45 p.m. this afternoon. Over here, this would be 12:52 p.m. this afternoon. 2.0 earthquake. We go over here to the right. This, folks, is 2:50. I want to say 2:40, 2:56 p.m. this afternoon. 12:56 p.m. this afternoon. Guys, this is a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. About a minute and a half later, 2 minutes later, we have a 2.0 earthquake here. On the bottom black line after 1300 hours. 1300 hours is 1 p.m. Just after 1 p.m. we have another 2.0 earthquake, and after that more tremors. Folks, this area is still moving. This area is still moving. It's going to continue to move. It will continue to move, guys. I'm telling you. The Channel Islands is moving. We showed this before here on these seismograms at Channel Islands. It's all moving. It'll continue to move.
Downgraded to 5.0 from 5.3 location, Scotia Sea. Class moderate, depth 6.2 miles, 20 minutes ago.
Another downgrade in the Scotia Sea as well. Unreal. Unreal. Hurricane Heather said start out at 6.9 to 5.9. Regent Smith says 6.9 started out as well. Look what they do. Just so they don't let anybody know exactly what's going on. Now I want to go over to Santa Rosa Island yesterday. Again, that earthquake in San Diego County was felt over here in the LA area. Even off the coast of Los Angeles here at Santa Rosa Island. We're seeing the effect of that earthquake in San Diego. Picking up here on this seismogram here north of Los Angeles, northwest of Los Angeles. This is going to happen.
Earthquake upgraded to 6.4 from 5.9 location, Hindu Kush region, Afghanistan. Class strong, depth 61.5 miles.
And they just upgraded again to 6.4. Half magnitude upgrade. They downgraded half magnitude and then upgraded again. It's incredible what these idiots do. Yes, I'm calling them idiots. Let's go out to Bakersfield, California in this case. This is today. Look what happened here in Bakersfield, California. Nothing but tremors here. Nothing but tremors here at Cal State Bakersfield. Okay? This is also on the San Andreas Fault in Bakersfield. Let's go over to Cabazon. I showed you where Cabazon was on the western side of the Bakersfield Mountains.
Downgraded to 5.6 from 6.4. Location, Hindu Kush region, Afghanistan. Class moderate, depth 68.4 miles, 14 minutes ago.
Now downgraded to 5.6. Almost a full magnitude downgrade. Nearly a full magnitude downgrade, guys. It's incredible what these idiots are doing. EMSC is calling it a 5.6 according to Richard. Incredible. Incredible. Let's go over to Cabazon. I told you we were going to see tremors and even minor earthquakes here, and that's what's going on. It was more than just one 1.7 tremor. Again, if USGS was doing its darn job, they would at least name several tremors and even some minor earthquakes, because we had some 2.0 earthquakes here as well. Cabazon, California. Cabazon, California. Let's go over to Idlewild. Here at Idlewild, we just have some minor microquakes. Microquakes, and occasionally a 1.0 tremor pops up. That's all we have here at Idlewild. But I want to show you this. Look at that blip on the seismograph. This blip is where they turned off the seismograph. This blip is where they turned off the seismograph. This is what these idiots do. No rhyme or reason for it, they just turn it off. They turn it off for just over 2 minutes. No more rhyme or reason for anything. This happened at 7:43 a.m. this morning. They turned it off for 2 minutes. What's the point? Why did they do that? Idiots. Let's go out to Lancaster on the San Andreas Fault here. Lancaster Airport. Fox Airport here in Lancaster. Look at this. Also on the San Andreas Fault. Look at these good-sized tremors. 1.4, 1.5, and I believe one of them is actually 1.6 tremor here on the San Andreas Fault. Why are we talking about the San Andreas Fault? Because, folks, guess what's going to happen? The San Andreas Fault is primed and ready for a major earthquake. Primed and ready for a major earthquake, upwards of a 7.5 earthquake. 7.5 earthquake. Folks, when that happens, it'll happen on the eastern side of Los Angeles. That earthquake is going to trigger faults all over LA and even down into San Diego County. Major earthquake. Major earthquake at this point in time. Let's go out to the desert area of Rancho Mirage, California. Look at this. This again was today. Look at the tremors here. We have more tremors today here in Rancho Mirage than we've had in previous weeks. Again, the seismic energy is building here on the San Andreas Fault. Let's continue this. Let's go out to Victorville. Good old Victorville. Look at the tremors here, and also an earthquake. An earthquake. We had a 2.9 earthquake here this morning. Approximately 6:08 this morning on this blue line. 6:38 this morning on this blue line. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. There's a lot of tremors here as well, as you can see. We've also had a 2.5 earthquake down here today. This happened at approximately 1:47 p.m. this afternoon. 1:47 p.m. this afternoon here. Okay? The earth is moving here. The earth is moving here. Victorville, California. Isaiah's granny, one of our friends here, EMA family members, lives here in Victorville on the San Andreas Fault. When the San Andreas Fault gives way upwards of a 7.5 earthquake, it's going to do a lot of damage. And even one of our family members could get affected by that earthquake. A big deal. Many of our EMA family members live here on the San Andreas Fault. That's one of the reasons we talk about it. Let me show you what happened yesterday in Victorville. This is that 5.0 plus earthquake here in Victorville yesterday. we also have a bunch of tremors here. Notice on this seismogram that they cut off the top and cut off the bottom of the seismic sequence. The earth shook for many seconds. In this case, the earth shook for over a minute. In some cases, most people felt the earth shake for just seconds. In this case, we see it as over a minute here. Over a minute here. They cut off the top and the bottom because they don't want us to know the exact strength of this earthquake. That's why they do that. We show you this on many seismograms over the years. They cut off the top and the bottom so they don't have to admit how strong these earthquakes really were. It's not the only one I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you many seismograms just like this. Let's continue over in the Los Angeles area. Let's go over to the Baldwin Hills. Unreal. Last week we showed you a seismogram in the Baldwin Hills. Guess what? Caltech, California Institute of Technology, and USGS took the seismographs down. Took the seismographs down that report earthquakes here in the Baldwin Hills. This is an outdated seismogram. This dates back to January 28th. Last week we showed you a seismogram here at Baldwin Hills, and it's just like this. They have been showing these same seismograms forever. They are not showing the entire seismogram. Why? Because they don't want us to know what's going on. They do not want us to know what's going on. When we have earthquakes here in LA, the Baldwin Hills oil and gas pumping operation slows. Why? Because the Baldwin Hills pumps and jacks have less oil pressure. So when we have an earthquake in the Baldwin Hills, there's less oil pressure. And usually that means there's going to be a large earthquake. When that happens, it means there's usually going to be a large earthquake. But again, they're not even showing us current seismograms now. They've taken off the seismograms and taken down the seismographs recording the instances. They don't want to be honest with us. That's a problem. They don't want to be honest with us. And Pickering's here in the chat saying she watched the program yesterday on the volcanoes. They're keeping a watch on the volcanoes because they're expecting those volcanoes to erupt. Absolutely right. Lassen volcano to the south in Northern California. Crater Lake might happen as well. But I doubt it's going to happen before we have a volcanic eruption at Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are likely to erupt before any of the others right now. We have plenty of evidence showing that. We've talked about that in the past. But again, here in Baldwin Hills, they are showing false data number 1, and this is an outdated seismogram from January 28th. January 28th. What a joke that is. Now from here, I want to go out to Bakersfield, California, right here. Look here. Again, this was today. Nothing but tremors, but good-sized tremors at that. On the black line here after 7 a.m. Actually, the blue line before that. Blue line over on the left would be 6:30. Over here, it's a different story. Over here, this would be 6:38 this morning. 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake. Look at all the other tremors here. Bakersfield, California. Good old Bakersfield, California. Actually, I think I showed you this before. I showed you that before. Let's go over to Chino, California here. Look at this. Good old Chino. Look at the tremors happening here. They said we had a 1.7 tremor in Chino. Guess what? There were many other 1.7 tremors here, and other tremors here as well. They do not want to tell us exactly what's going on. They only put up minor information just to get our teeth wet. But that's all. That's all. They can't be honest with us at all. They're not. I don't believe the USPS or even Caltech in this situation even knows what honest is. I just don't believe it. Let's go over to North Los Angeles. Let's go over to Del Amo, California. North LA. Look what's going on here. Folks, we had some 2.0. We had some 2.5 earthquakes happen here today. On the red lines at the top. If that was a black line, it would be a 2.0 earthquake. But it's down here on the red line. This would be a 2.5 earthquake here. A 2.5 earthquake here. Okay? This would be 5:20. I want to say 5:29 a.m. today. 5:29 a.m. today. Unreal. Look at all these other earthquakes. For example, over here on the blue line here. The blue line I'm talking about is after 9 a.m. Go over to 0900 on the left-hand side. That would be 9 a.m. on the black line. Drop down here to the blue line. Over on the left is 9:30. We come over here to the right, you see a good-sized earthquake. That earthquake happened at 9:41 a.m. this morning. 9:41 a.m. this morning. This is probably close to a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake just after 9:41 a.m. this morning. Down here in the bottom, black and red lines. The black line here, you see nothing but tremors. Nothing but tremors. On the red line, on the far left side, the red line here is 1:15 this afternoon. We have one earthquake here. I believe this earthquake was a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake just after 1:15 this afternoon. Otherwise, what do we see here? Nothing but tremors. Nothing but tremors. Yes, we had a 3.0 earthquake and probably several other minor earthquakes here as well. But a lot of tremors here. A lot of tremors here. We're going to continue to see tremors here all over the place. This is North Los Angeles. This is North Los Angeles. I promise you there's going to be more. Let's go over to Ellis, California, also north of LA, downtown LA. Ellis, California here. Look what we're seeing here. For the first part of the morning, at the top of this seismogram is 5 a.m. We start seeing more than just tremors after 6:42 a.m. this morning. Here we're seeing 2.0, 2.5, even upwards of a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake happened here at approximately 6:44 a.m. this morning. 6:43, 6:44 a.m. this morning. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Another earthquake on the blue line here after 7 o'clock, after 7:30 here on the blue line. In this case, this earthquake happened at 7:37 this morning. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. 2.7, 2.8 minor earthquake here. All the other earthquakes here are probably 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes. Most of these are also tremors here. Most of these are also tremors. I'm real, guys. Ellis, California, also north of Los Angeles City. Let's go to Fontana on the east side of LA. Guess what? Folks, this is on the San Jacinto Fault. Fontana is on the San Jacinto Fault. Guess what we're having here? 3.0 earthquakes here today. 3.0 earthquakes here today. Almost back to back. Every couple of minutes we have another 3.0 earthquake here in Fontana. Fontana is shaking and shaking and shaking. 3.0s are small earthquakes. 3.0s are small earthquakes. This is what's going on. Okay? You saw a large earthquake, a very large, very strong earthquake happen in San Diego County yesterday morning. Now you're seeing this seismic energy today on the San Jacinto Fault up here in Fontana to the north. Fontana is probably 100 miles north of San Diego where this earthquake hit yesterday. That's what's going on. Unreal. Barbie Liddell says cover it with black crayon and you can etch a new picture on these graphs. Probably. Probably. But this is what's going on, Drew Black. Drew Black said yipes. No joke. No joke. Demon Catman says definitely busy. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This is Fontana, East LA, way out east of Los Angeles. Let's go over to the coastline south of LA. Laguna Bell, Laguna Niguel, guys. We see just tremors here. Only tremors here today. Amazing what we see here. Nothing but tremors here in Laguna Niguel. Let's go over to Long Beach. I'm going to show you two seismographs here in Long Beach. This one here. Now I don't know where this seismograph comes from. I don't know where it's located. But here we're seeing 2.5, 2.7 earthquakes here. These earthquakes happen after 6:04 a.m. this morning. The first one was a 2.5, 2.7 earthquake. The next one were 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes after that. Just a couple minutes later. We also see a lot of tremors here. Long Beach, California. This next one in Long Beach is called Light Hype. Light Hype, California. This is going to blow your mind. I typically show you this every week. This is what's going on. Yes, we have a bunch of tremors here, but we're having some 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes all over the place. 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes all over here. Top to bottom, side to side. These are earthquakes that continue minute to minute, second to second. You can see what I'm saying. Long Beach is very busy. Long Beach is very, very busy. I kid you not. This is crazy. This is crazy. Let's go over to the city of LA. The city county building of Los Angeles into the basement of the city building. This is in the Emergency Operations Center, guys. Here we're seeing nothing but tremors. Nothing but tremors. There is one larger tremor here that's after 12:28 p.m. this afternoon. 12:28 p.m. this afternoon. It's a 1.5, 1.6 tremor. Others of these are just 1.0, 1.2, 1.3 tremors here. The city county building of LA. Now folks, they have a seismologist here in the Emergency Operations Center. I don't believe these are accurate seismographs. I believe they've turned down the seismograph. I believe they turned down the seismic up here in the city county building of Los Angeles. They lied to us. They completely lie to us all the time. I've seen all kinds of stuff happen here at the city county building. I don't believe they can tell the truth. Their lives depended on it. Let's go out east to Mira Loma, Loma Linda area. Look at this. Again, this is near the San Jacinto Fault. Look at this. Yes, we're seeing a bunch of tremors here. This is yesterday. Look what we're having here. Remember that earthquake hit at 10:08 a.m. yesterday? Yes, we're seeing that at 10:08. But what happened after 8 a.m.? What happened here at 8 a.m. here on this black line? Yeah, first it was tremors. Then it became serious, folks. I believe we had 2 5.0 plus earthquakes here. I believe it wasn't just one 5.0, 5.2 earthquake, 6.0, 6.7 earthquake in San Diego. I believe there were 2 of them. Why? Because this seismogram doesn't lie. This seismogram doesn't lie. We had another incident before the other incident in San Diego. This tells us there was at least one other earthquake. At least one other earthquake. And it was a big one. It was a big one. I believe it's probably another 5.0 at least. This proves it. This is the Mira Loma seismogram. The Mira Loma seismogram from yesterday. Let me show you the Mira Loma seismogram from today. This is the Mira Loma seismogram from today. Such a difference. Here we're seeing a bunch of tremors. Yes, we're also seeing a couple, 3 minor earthquakes, 2.0 earthquakes. The rest of this is all tremors. All tremors. Okay, next. Let's go over to Moore Park. Moore Park is north of Los Angeles as well. Look what we're seeing here. This is today. Up at the top on the red line here, just to the right of the 5:15 mark. This is 5:16 this morning. Folks, this is at least a 3.0 earthquake here. 5:16 this morning. 3.0 earthquake. After that, as near as I can determine, at about 10:18 this morning on the red line here. 10:18 this morning, there was a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Then at 10:31 a.m. this morning, another 3.0 earthquake. Then another that happened just after 12:01 p.m. this afternoon. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. For all intents and purposes, probably a 3.0 small quake. Then the rest of this seismogram here is showing you tremors and minor 2.0 earthquakes. That's what happened here in Moore Park, just north of the city of Los Angeles. Moore Park, California. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet at all. Let's go over to North Hollywood. I haven't shown you North Hollywood for a reason. Because of this. Look at all these zigzaggy lines. This is called abstract. This is called abstract, guys. What do I mean by abstract? Abstract is what the seismogram wants us to tell us. The seismologist doesn't want us to know the truth here. They jumble it up with all these zigzaggy lines. However, we're also seeing earthquakes here. We're also seeing some earthquakes here. Look after 10 a.m. this morning. 10:01 a.m. this morning. There's a 2.3 earthquake right here. Before that, we have a bunch of tremors, and after that, we have a bunch of tremors. Also, after 11:45 a.m. this morning over on the left-hand side, we come over here. This is 11:52 a.m. here on this green line. This is a 2.2 earthquake. Just after that, another 2.2 earthquake within about 30 seconds. Then we have a bunch of tremors here. But again, with all these zigzaggy lines, you can hardly tell what's going on, except, yes, we are having earthquakes here in North Hollywood. But you have to ignore all the other crap, all the other abstract that they're showing you here. It's trash. It's trash. Lena Vilcanos in Southern California. Lena, I want to ask you, I don't know where you live in Southern California, but did you feel that earthquake yesterday? Did you feel that earthquake yesterday? Okay, I'm going to go and show you the Pardee earthquake yesterday. Look at this. Yes, we're seeing that earthquake at 10:08 a.m. yesterday. Pardee, California. This earthquake was felt and seen by seismographs all over LA. That's what we're seeing here. But look here before that. Just after 10 a.m. A bunch of tremors here. And even minor earthquakes after 10:03. Between 10:03 and 10:05, we have some minor earthquakes. Minor tremors, I should say. Up here earlier yesterday morning. After 6:15. On the red line after 6:15, we see a bunch of tremors, don't we? Then we come over here to 6:25 a.m. All of a sudden, we're seeing 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes, and then, a minute later, another 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake here. That was here. That was here in Pardee, California. Lena Vilcano's answering my question. She was at Little Creek camping area. She did not feel it sitting, but a friend standing did. Incredible. Thank you for coming out with that, Lena. We appreciate it. Even up in Little Creek, they felt it. Lori says she lives in Corona. She felt it as well. Incredible. 5.0 earthquake, larger than that. Much larger than that. You see minor tremors here. You see at least 3.0 earthquakes, and then that symbol for that earthquake yesterday morning. The top and the bottom have been cut off because, again, they don't want us to see exactly how strong that earthquake was. They don't want us to see how strong that earthquake was. What a deal. What a deal. It's incredible what they're lying about. Lies, lies, and more lies in Pardee. Let's look at Pardee this morning and this afternoon. Look what we're seeing here. We're seeing 2.0 earthquakes. We're also seeing here after 5:18 this morning here at the top red line. That is a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. Still a minor earthquake. Down here at the bottom. On the blue line. Blue line is 1:30 this afternoon on the left-hand side. At 1:31. 1:31 we have a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Minor earthquake. Further over here to the right. This would be 1. 1:31 1:24 a.m. this afternoon. 1:24 p.m. this afternoon. 1.2, 1.3, excuse me, not 1, but 2.2, 2.3 earthquake, minor earthquake. 1:24 this afternoon. 2.3, 2.4 earthquake here, minor earthquake. Richard Smith says the earth is angry. That's an understatement. I believe that is an understatement, guys. Okay, let's continue this. All right. Let's go over to Playa del Rey, which is on the north side of LA along the coast. This is north coast of Los Angeles. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey area. Nothing but tremors here. Nothing but tremors here today. Fortunately. Now, east of where my wife was born, up there in LA. She's born west of there. This is Rancho Palos Verdes. Look at this. Nothing but tremors here today. Nothing but tremors. Some of these tremors were larger than others. 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 tremors here. Yes, we had some smaller ones, 1.0, 1.2, 1.3. That's all we had here at Rancho Palos Verdes. Okay? Okay, let's go over to north of Los Angeles again to Rinaldi. This was Rinaldi today. For the most part, nothing but tremors, minor, very, very minor tremors here. Largest maybe a 1.6, 1.7 tremor. Rinaldi, California. Let's go to Rio Hondo. Look at this. Rio Hondo is over here just north of LA as well. The wavy lines here, guys, is something different. Yes, we are seeing a bunch of tremors, but the wavy lines here are very different. Guess what's happening here? These wavy lines are following magma beneath the surface. These wavy lines are following magma beneath the surface. Magma headed east. Magma headed east to the volcanoes. This is Rio Hondo. Nothing but tremors, but we're also seeing magma here headed eastbound towards the volcanoes. Yes, we are going to see volcanoes here. Tonight. We're also going to talk about volcanoes here tonight. Okay? Again, over in Pardee. Okay, before I should not have gone on here, I want to show you Pardee yesterday morning. Look at that. Look at all the tremors and earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes 2.0, 2.8 here, but they're also showing, well, I may have shown you this. I think I did. We're showing you a bunch of tremors after 10 a.m. About 10:04 to 10:06 a.m. Actually, probably not. About 10:03 to 10:04 a.m., a bunch of tremors. Then after that, we see the 5.0 earthquake, the top and the bottom of which was cut off, so it's not showing us exactly how strong this earthquake was. Incredible. They lie and lie and lie. Okay. I also want to go to Santa Clara. Santa Clara is a city, suburb of LA. Look at this. Again, this is yesterday. The top and the bottom of that earthquake sequence was cut off. Some people say they felt the earthquake happen for several seconds. Look at this seismogram here. This shows this earthquake lasting nearly 3 minutes. And then the secondary quake off to the right. Look at that. It did not completely diminish for 5 minutes. Maybe 6 or 7. The secondary wave lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. Maybe 7. That was a significant quake. At least a 6.0 earthquake. 6.0 earthquake. But they're not going to be honest with us and let us know how strong it was. Incredible. Just incredible. Now guys, this is an agency that I used to look up to. This is an agency that I used to look up to. This is a seismogram from today. Almost nothing happened. Just minor tremors here. Minor tremors here at Santa Clara today. Let me go over to a hillside in Los Angeles called Santiago Peak. Just like Griffith Park. Griffith Park is a mountain that has a telescope on it in Los Angeles, but also has a bunch of seismic activity and other devices there reaching out into space. Here at Santiago Peak, they have a bunch of antennas for television and radio stations here, also here at Santiago Peak. Look what this seismograph recorded here. Again, this earthquake lasted 3 minutes, nearly 3 minutes. They cut off the top and the bottom of it because they don't want us to see how strong it was. Also below that after 11:15 yesterday morning. This was actually about 11:21 a.m. yesterday morning. Guess what? 2.9, 3.0 earthquake there. Here, Santiago Peak, guys. A small earthquake here yesterday. This is probably the only place I've seen a 3.0 earthquake here at Santiago Peak. Other than that, it's been mostly tremors over the past several years that we reported earthquakes here at Santiago Peak. Incredible. I want to show you that. That earthquake in San Diego County is being shown all over LA, all over Southern California, out into the desert regions of Southern California as well. Crazy, huh? Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, I want to take you over to Anaheim, California. Let me show you the seismogram in Anaheim yesterday morning. Look how busy it is. Usually the State Street seismogram here that we show you every week is pretty busy. Mostly tremors, and occasionally a minor earthquake. But zoom in here, guys. Look what we see here. We see that 5.0 plus earthquake here after 10:08. But we're also seeing other earthquakes here as well. Even after 5:30 this morning, or actually 5:30 yesterday morning. At about 5:35 yesterday morning, Anaheim, California, a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake. You see some minor earthquakes on the top black line here. But about 3:05 yesterday morning, we had a 3.0 earthquake. Then another about 3 minutes later at 2.9, 3.0 there. All day long here. All day long. 7:01 a.m. this morning, another 3.0 earthquake. 7:04 a.m., another 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake 2 minutes later. 3 minutes later, another 3.0 earthquake. This is all after 7:30. Look at all these earthquakes this morning, or yesterday morning. Look at these earthquakes all day long here. Look at these earthquakes all day long here. This is impressive. This is impressive. Anaheim had earthquakes all day long here. Now, what is an Anaheim? Guys, what is an Anaheim? What do we have here in Anaheim? We have Disneyland. Everybody wins a ball game, football game, basketball game, baseball game. They want to go to Disneyland. Also, Knott's Berry Farm. Knott's Berry Farm also has roller coaster rides as well. I will bet you that they probably had to shut down the rides every few minutes because these earthquakes kept happening. 3.0 plus earthquakes here, small earthquakes. Small earthquakes. Unreal. My buddy Don Patogas here in the chat saying many government agencies and people are indemnified and held harmless regardless of the final outcome results. They handle the astute and prepared, discernment prevails. Unreal. And that's the truth. They will not be held responsible because the politicians are telling them what to do. And yet these are executives of the USGS. Executives of the USGS here. Let me show you the seismogram from today here in Anaheim. This is today. Look at all the earthquakes here today. Still. 2.8, 2.9, 3.0 earthquakes keep happening all day long today. Meaning the two amusement parks in Los Angeles and probably Six Flags North Los Angeles as well has to keep shutting down the rides, checking to make sure the rides are okay. Unreal. Los Angeles, guys. Los Angeles. We have not even gotten to San Diego County yet. We have not even gotten to San Diego County yet. Wait for that. I bet you can't wait to see that. Let's go over to Walnut La Puente. Walnut La Puente is a volcano. Look what we see here. This is yesterday. Look at what happened yesterday. Yes, we're seeing the 5+ earthquake yesterday morning shown here at Walnut La Puente. We're also seeing our share of 3.0, 2.9, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes. Look down here at the bottom on the green line. This bottom green line here is after 2:45. The bottom green line here on the right hand side is approximately 2:51 p.m. Actually 2:55 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Guess what? We're seeing 3.5 earthquakes. At least 3.5 earthquakes. We can't see the top and we can't see the bottom of the seismic or the earthquake, the seismic sequence. They cut it off. That's what they do. So we don't see exactly what's going on. You can see 3.0 earthquakes here. You can see 3.5 earthquakes here. But they cut it off at about 3.0. Just like they cut off the 5.0 plus earthquake. They don't want to show it to us. They don't want to be honest with us. That is a volcano. The La Puente caldera here is a volcano. It erupted years and years ago. I want to say several hundred years ago. And it's going to erupt again. We're seeing evidence of that here. It's recharging. Now I did show you that seismogram from North Hollywood. I showed you a seismogram from Pardee as well, where molten lava is going underneath the surface, through the crust of the earth, headed to the volcanoes to the east. That's what's happened. These volcanoes are recharging. All of the volcanoes here are recharging. This is La Puente, Walnut La Puente caldera today. Look at this. Again, we're seeing 3.0 earthquakes here. Okay? At the top. Over on the left-hand side of the top is 5:45 a.m. Here, at this point in time, this is 5:50 a.m., a 3.0, 3.2 earthquake. Look at these others here. Look at this red earthquake after 7 o'clock. 7:15, I should say. It lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. 5-minute earthquake. 5-minute earthquake. 2.9, 3.0 as I can see right now, and it may have been cut off as well. It's hard to tell because of the other colors here. Cut off. 5-minute long earthquake. How would you like to be in a 5-minute long earthquake? The ground shaking for 5 minutes. That would be totally unnerving. Totally unnerving. Incredible. Walnut La Puente caldera east of Los Angeles. Now, I've shown you this for many years now, but as you can see, things are getting wilder and more wild as we speak. Now, I'm going to start showing you seismograms in San Diego City. Beware, San Diego City. Okay? The first earthquake I'm going to show you is at Julian, the Julian Eagle Mine. Look at this. They are not even showing us the exact seismogram. If they did, we would see these black lines continue for at least 2 to 3 minutes. They don't. They don't. One of two things happened here. Either the ground was shaking so violently that the stylus of the seismograph was not keeping track. Thrown off the paper. Thrown off the paper. Yes, this is digital, but the seismograph was not able to keep up because of the strength of this quake. Again, how strong was this quake really? How strong was this quake really? Was it really a 6.0? They said it dropped down to 5.2. Or was it a 6.7 as I showed you in that slide earlier? It was probably closer to 6.7. Look at the data here. Look at the data. The seismic signal started at 10:08 a.m. yesterday morning. It lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. A 5-minute long earthquake. And yet most people said it only lasted seconds. 5-minute long earthquake. With minor damage. Minor damage to roadways because of rock falls and landslides on the roadways. This area got very lucky. This area got really lucky in San Diego County. I'm telling you right now. They got very lucky yesterday. Now, I want to go over to the city of San Diego next. Mission Control in Mission Valley. Mission Control is located at the San Diego Gas and Electric Building in Mission Valley. Look what we're seeing here. Okay? This is today. Today, guys, look over on the right-hand side on the blue line. The blue line on the left-hand side would be 7:30 this morning. Over on the right, that is 7:44 a.m. this morning. Minor tremors. 1 minute later, over here on this green line, we had 2.0 earthquakes that lasted about 30 seconds. 2.0 earthquakes that lasted about 20 seconds, maybe 30, just after 7:45 this morning. Then about 2.5 minutes later, we have 1.5 tremors. Let's drop down here to 9:45 this morning. We come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. 5:50 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 small earthquake here. San Diego City. This is the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault comes out of Newport Inglewood. Newport Inglewood Fault comes out of Los Angeles, goes out into the harbor. The Rose Canyon Fault comes off the Newport Inglewood and goes into the ocean. Goes all the way into San Diego County. It starts coming inland about Encinitas, California, up in North County. Comes down here into San Diego City. And then the Rose Canyon Fault goes out into San Diego Bay. Folks, we had a 3.0 earthquake here today. 9:50 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquake in San Diego. Now, because of time, I'm going to limit my speaking about most of San Diego County, except those places that are near the earthquake. I want to show you what happened today and yesterday. You need to see this. You need to see this. I'm going over to Chula Vista, California yesterday morning. Look at this. This is a seismograph over in Otay Lakes, Chula Vista. Again, happened at 10:08 yesterday morning. The top and the bottom are cut off. But again, we're not seeing the entire earthquake sequence for 5 minutes. But guess what happened after that? Guess what happened after that? After 11:15 yesterday morning, about 11:09 yesterday morning, there was another 3.0 earthquake. The top and the bottom are cut off. They're not showing that. But there's another 3.0 earthquake here yesterday morning. 11:09 a.m. yesterday morning. Chula Vista. Chula Vista. Now, we showed you the seismic signals that happened up in Los Angeles. Lake Elsinore. It happened on the Elsinore Fault. Look at this earthquake in San Diego listed on the Elsinore seismograph. They cut off the top and the bottom, and again, it's not showing the entire length of the earthquake. Elsinore, California. Also in Orange County. Also in Orange County. Where to go here? Marietta Hot Springs. Marietta Hot Springs is just north of San Diego County line. Look at here. Again, we're seeing the earthquake here in San Diego County. But again, at 11:09 a.m., we're also seeing the 3.0 earthquake here shown on the Marietta seismograph. Guess what? We had another 3.0 earthquake in San Diego County yesterday. The other seismographs are not showing this earthquake. They're not. We had another at least 3.0 earthquake here at 11:09. No, it was not as powerful as a 5.0 to 6.7. And I'm going to call it a 6.7 earthquake. I'm going to call it a 6.7 earthquake. Palomar Observatory. Palomar Observatory also shows this earthquake and also shows a 3.0. We had at least a 3.0 yesterday morning at 11:09. Scientists didn't tell us about it, did they? It shows up here on the seismograms, right? We can't tell how big these earthquakes are until we go to the seismograms. We can't even tell if we've had an earthquake unless we go to the seismograms. That's when we find out the truth. That's when we find out the truth. Now, over in Julian, I showed you this earlier. This is a seismograph at the Julian Eagle Mine. That earthquake lasted at least 5 minutes. It also shows you that 3.0 plus earthquake. Then it has another earthquake after 1:08 p.m. yesterday afternoon. So now we've had at least 2 3.0 aftershocks. At least 2 3.0 aftershocks here. Okay? How about over in the Imperial Valley? Let's take a look at the Imperial Valley now. Okay? Sultan City. I showed you where the Sultan City is. Look what the seismographs tells us here. They didn't even turn on the seismograph. They didn't even turn on the seismograph until at least 9 a.m. They may have turned it on at about 8:45. Look at all that blank space. Why did they not have it turned on? Why did they not have this seismograph turned on? Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, Sultan City. Let me show you more. Okay. Excuse me for just a second. I forgot something. Hold on. I forgot something, guys. I'm sorry. I'll show you in just a second here. I want to show you this. This is going to blow your mind. Hang in here with me for just a second. This may blow your mind. Now, I can't find the seismogram from yesterday at Calipatria, but this is a seismogram from today, Calipatria. Look at the earthquakes hitting here. Yes, we have a bunch of tremors. The earthquakes you see here in red, the red is a computer. It's a red computer generated line to get the seismologist's attention. Hey, this is an earthquake you need to take a look at. Yes, the seismologist has approved this seismograph. Look at the earthquakes here at the top last night. This is after 1900 hours, which is 7 p.m. last night. Yes, we're seeing 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes here, back to back after 7 o'clock last night. After midnight here, this is another 2.5 earthquake here, just after midnight. Actually, I'm sorry, this after 11:40, this is about 11:50 p.m. last night. 11:50 p.m. last night. Now these other minor tremors here may not be just minor tremors. What I believe happens is that the seismologist decides they're going to turn the seismograph down. And I believe they turn it down because they don't want to show all the earthquakes. They turn it down here just after midnight. Between midnight and 5 a.m. this morning, all we had here are some minor tremors. That's all. What happens after 5 a.m. this morning? Look at this. Look at this. Look at all these earthquakes. Look at these earthquakes that are topped off at the top and the bottom. For example, this earthquake in red, over here on the right. This is after 8:57, 8:58 this morning. Top off at the top and the bottom. This would be a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake, just as it is. That's been topped off, and it may be as much as over a 3.0, 3.3 earthquake. Again, they don't want to admit how strong these earthquakes are. Let's look at these other earthquakes. Look at these other earthquakes that have been topped off. After 1:30 this afternoon, over here on the left-hand side. Just after 1:30 this afternoon. This seismic event lasted about 20 seconds. This was at least a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake as it stands. We don't know the strength of this earthquake because they're hiding it. They topped it off in the top and the bottom. This was a strong earthquake as well. Probably closer to a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake here at Calipatria. At Calipatria, you can see the earthquakes here. But folks, here at Calipatria, we used to see upwards of 150 earthquakes here a day. Upwards of 150 earthquakes a day. They've now trimmed that down. I don't think we show more than 50 earthquakes here. I don't think we show more than 50 earthquakes here at Calipatria. That's because they're lying through their teeth. They are lying through their teeth about what's going on. I could show you more seismograms here, a lot more. But they are lying through their teeth about what's going on here in the Imperial Valley and all over Los Angeles, all over San Diego. Lying through their friggin' teeth. When the San Andreas Fault comes down the east side of the Salton Sea, at Bombay Beach, the San Andreas Fault goes underneath the water. Goes underneath the water at Bombay Beach. What else happens? What do you think happens? It comes out of underneath the Salton Sea at Calipatria. Then it goes southwest to Westmoreland. Look at the earthquakes here today. Look what happened today. Actually, I'm sorry, this is Westmoreland yesterday morning. Look at all the earthquakes here. It was not just the San Diego earthquake. Look at the other earthquakes here as well. 3.5 to 4.0 earthquakes all over here in Westmoreland, California, on the San Andreas Fault. on the San Andreas Fault. Let me pull the Westmoreland seismogram from today. I think I've got it. This is the Westmoreland seismogram from today. Look at this. Seismic signals continue. No, they're not as strong as they were yesterday, but they're good-sized earthquakes. 3.0 down to 2.5, 2.8 earthquakes. Literally all day long. All day long from 7 a.m. this morning to this afternoon. At 2:01 p.m. this afternoon on the black line at the bottom, there's a 3.0 earthquake right there. On the right side on the green line, which would be 3:59 or 1:59 p.m. this afternoon, another 3.1, 3.2 earthquake, Westmoreland, California, on the San Andreas Fault. Guess what? Let's drop down to Imperial, California. This is the Imperial, California seismogram. Nothing but tremors. Last week we showed you 3.0 earthquakes here in the Imperial. Now we have tremors here. Lots of tremors. Let's go over to El Centro. This is where our EMA family member Juanito and his family live. Look at this. This is today. These are 3.0, 3.3, 3.4 earthquakes, literally all day long. Now there are about 53.0 earthquakes here. There are about 53.0, 3.3 earthquakes here today. This happens every day. This is happening every day. El Centro is not where the San Andreas Fault goes. This is west of the San Andreas Fault. But the San Andreas Fault continues southbound. Let's go over to Holtville. I want to show you Holtville now. Wait to see this. Look at this. The San Andreas Fault. Up at the top on the red line. Okay? We go 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes later. 5 minutes later. So we have 5:20 a.m. this morning. A 3.0 earthquake here in Holtville. 3.0 earthquakes are to be felt. You're going to feel 3.0 earthquake in Holtville. All the rest of this information here are either minor earthquakes or tremors here in Holtville on the San Andreas Fault. Now, why am I being so sensitive to the San Andreas Fault? As I said, the San Andreas Fault is ready to go. It's ready to go, guys. And I'm not kidding. Those of you who live on the San Andreas Fault, you need to make sure that you have a preparedness plan written. Not just for earthquakes, but for any other emergency or disaster that might befall you. But you folks are going to see a major earthquake. A 6.5 to a 7.5 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. It's either going to be just barely south of the border, at the border, or it's going to be up on the north side of the Imperial Valley. I fully expect it to be there. Southeast Los Angeles, or down north of the Salton Sea. A 6.5 to a 7.5 earthquake. What I've shown you tonight is evidence of that seismic energy being there. Literally all over. All of you have seen it. I have not been lenient at all in showing you what's going on. Now before we leave, I want to show you what happened in Scotland on the 9th. Look at this, guys. This is no joke. Let me show you what happened in Scotland on the 9th. A battery recycling facility blew up near a neighborhood. Near a housing area in Scotland. Things happen. Things happen all over the world. We are having earthquakes around the world. I showed you that tonight. Literally earthquakes around the world. Are you ready for what's going to happen? Are any of you ready for what's going to happen? Whether you're ready or not, it's going to happen. But if you're not ready, you're going to get hurt. If you're not ready, your family might get hurt as well. Make sure you have an emergency preparedness plan. Make sure you have an emergency preparedness kit. As I've told you before, if you want to find out how to write a preparedness plan, go back through our program descriptions at the top title of each one of the programs we put out. If you see the word preparedness, you might want to take a look at it. If it says a preparedness plan, you want to look at it to write your preparedness plan. If it says emergency preparedness kit, which many of them do, watch it. Because you're going to see information that you're going to want to know. Write it down. Write it down. When I do these programs, I give you ample opportunity to write the information down. We are going to have a major earthquake in Southern California. It's packed and ready. It's packed and ready. The Santa Andreas Fault is moving, but it's not totally. It's going to move, and it's going to move in a big way. I promise you. I promise you, it's going to move in a big way. Now, I want to make sure you also prepare for your pets. Two of my friends in Las Vegas, they live in Vegas. They operate a company called Pet Emergency Education. PetEmergencyEducation.com. It's Pet First Aid Awareness Month. They say they have got your back. Now is the first perfect time to grab one of their Pet First Aid kits. Pet First Aid kits. $10 off their Pet First Aid Awareness Month. $10 off their Pet First Aid kits for Pet Awareness Month. Guys, these people are not just my friends. They can help you. They can help you and your pets. I never want to see a pet left alone during or after an emergency. These pet emergency preparedness kits have veterinary-approved supplies. Each kit is packed with 60 essential items hand-selected by veterinary professionals. These people teach veterinary people first aid and also CPR. CPR for your pets. They're perfect for home, they're perfect for travel, or on the trail. Compact, durable, organized, ideal for pet parents and professionals on the go. They offer peace of mind in emergencies. Be prepared to handle cuts, bites, burns, and other urgent pet situations confidently. You need a pet first aid kit, and they offer it here at PetEmergencyEducation.com. These people are friends of mine. When you actually talk to them, tell them, and I already put it on their website, that I would be showing this tonight because I believe in what they're doing. Tell them that I asked you to call. Tell them that I asked you to call. Yes, you can order the first aid kit off their internet site. But if you end up calling them, yes, there's a telephone number to them. But if you end up calling them, tell them that I told you to call. Okay? PetEmergencyEducation.com. It's a great thing. And I personally vouch for that. My wife and I have one of their first aid kits, and it's awesome. Okay. Tonight, I told you we would be talking about the Savior's life and resurrection. What's happening this week, this special week, following Palm Sunday. It's a beautiful thing. Very beautiful thing. Brothers and sisters, no one has ever shown greater love than Jesus Christ. He embraced outcasts. He forgave freely. He gave his life for us. He healed people. He loved people. He preached the gospel to people so that they would be ready to accept Jesus Christ. This Holy Week is special. Through his resurrection, that love is available to everyone. This Holy Week we're going to share special study for you. Daily messages to help you draw closer to our Savior and feel his love. Be advised. Yes, I do love the Savior. I've told you that. I've shown you evidence of that. I totally love the Savior Jesus Christ. Brothers and sisters, I want you to also celebrate the Savior's love for you, for all of us. I want each and every one of us to be prepared for Easter Sunday. And what happens on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be marvelous. Please join us each evening for more information about the Savior's life, his death and resurrection. Before I leave you, I want to thank Linda Covington. She sent us another card. A beautiful card like this. Easter card. With a marmot. Now folks, I made fun of the Environmental Protection Agency and the environmentalists not wanting to put up seismographs on Glacier Peak in Washington. This is a marmot. Here it says, Endangered Marmot Mammal, Vancouver Island. Endangered Marmot Mammal on Vancouver Island. Incredible. On the inside, Dear Ron and Carol, just a little thank you for your hard work and spiritual guidance. Back in March, the end of March on the 25th, she sent us a PayPal donation, which we greatly appreciate. Linda, thank you for that. This is the note that she sent us. Also, she sent us another note. Today's prayer. God bless you, Linda Covington. On the other side it says, above all, keep loving one another earnestly. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8. Keep loving one another earnestly. That's my message to you that the Savior wants us to do for each other. Keep loving each other earnestly. Gidget God, thank you for being here. Barbie Little, thank you for being here. Bailey, thank you all for being with us. God bless you all. We appreciate you all very much. Please, folks, share this program far and wide. There isn't anything here that couldn't be shared to your friends and relatives and even your family. Share to your family. Share to your extended family, your friends and neighbors, your social media contacts, and even the people you work with. Share far and wide. Everyone needs to know what's going on here on the San Andreas Fault. I guarantee you, when it goes, things are going to be very bad. Please share it far and wide, everybody. Please know that we love you. We love you very much. I am worried that people are going to get hurt. Yes, they are. We do our best here on this channel to make everybody aware of what's going on, and then offer them survival techniques and preparedness to be prepared for what's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know exactly what's going to happen. Be safe out there, guys. Be safe out there. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love.